Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Daily Current Affairs session with me. My name is Aishwarya and I am representing Gallant IAS. Now let's start without wasting any time. So these are some of the topics which I have taken for today, some of the mains topic and some prelims topic. The first topic is from yesterday's newspaper, that is Sunday's newspaper. One topic I missed out, the others are from today's newspaper. Now let us first move on to the polio vaccination. Now the author has stated it as very unethical to continue using polio causing oral vaccine. So we have to first know about the polio virus and how it's caused and what it causes, symptoms and side effects with it. Now polio is actually a viral infectious disease. It's a viral infectious disease. It causes permanent paralysis in our body. It affects our nervous system and takes control of all of our body, and there is no permanent cure or permanent vaccine or permanent anything for it. It's just preventable. Like it's better to prevention than get affected by this, because there is no treatment and it's permanent paralysis. It affects our nervous system, causes irreversible paralysis. There are actually three types. There is a wild polio virus type 1, wild polio virus type 2 and wild polio virus type 3. Now the transmission is from person to person. It affects via the oral route, our face, etc. and it is very dangerous to children below the age of 5 years old. Now I told you there is no cure and it can be prevented through immunization only. And now vaccination, there are two types of vaccine available. There is oral polio vaccination and injectable polio vaccination. This oral polio vaccination is used by developing countries. Developing countries use this, and the injectable polio vaccine is used by developed countries. Now what is the difference between this? The oral polio vaccine, we take it orally and it has an active pathogen, that is a active but a weak stage of polio virus in the oral polio vaccination. In the injectable polio vaccine, it doesn't have an active virus but it's an inactive virus and it's taken via injection. India mostly uses oral polio vaccination because it is very easy to give to children and to others this polio vaccine. Whereas other developed countries who has many resources and funds available, they usually go to the method of injectable polio vaccination. Now in India we had polio pulse campaign, which was to eliminate polio within 2000, and India got a polio free certification from our World Health Organization in 2014, and India had actually successfully eliminated polio, that is the wild polio virus which I have told, the type 1, 2, 3 type of virus, in 2011, and the last case was in 2011. After that India didn't have any wild polio virus case. Now in this we also have to know the Global Polio Eradication Initiative of WHO, which was actually in 1988. Now in this, WHO's initiative was to actually completely eradicate our polio by 2000. Okay, but in between this actually the WHO changed its criteria, and by 1993 they just stated that they have to eliminate the wild polio virus, only the wild type of polio virus and not the entire type of polio virus. Thus the aim and initiative actually just changed to eliminating of wild polio virus. Now India, I told you, uses oral polio vaccination and it actually uses an active pathogen. So taking an active pathogen, me, you, everybody has taken an oral polio vaccination. What if the active virus mutates in our body? Now that is what is happening in case of oral polio vaccination, and India is continuously having another polio cases, which is type of vaccine derived polio virus or vaccine associated paralytic poliomyelitis. So this is the cause. This is just happening to the people who has taken oral polio vaccination. This is not happening in case of an injectable polio vaccination. People who has taken IPV has successfully eliminated the spread or cause of polio virus. But that's not the case in of oral polio vaccination. India still uses the method of oral polio vaccination. That is the concern of the author in this news article. That is why the author says that oral polio vaccination is unethical in India. We are having not many cases, but still there are existing a lot of cases that is happening due to this mutation of active pathogen. Now, we don't have clear data in how many cases of this vaccine derived poliovirus or VAPP is happening in India. That is also major cause that the author is asking the government or telling the government to change the process of immunization from an oral to an injectable polio vaccination. Now, this is yesterday's topic. Now, we are moving to today's current affairs topic. The government is set up new panel to review all about NSO data. Now, first thing we need to know what is NSO. NSO is National Statistical Office, and before NSO was created in 2019, it was actually two organizations. NSO was merged by two organizations, that is NSSO and CSO. So, NSSO is National Sample Collecting Organization and CSO is Central Statistical Organization. NSSO actually collected all the field around data from different surveys from the ground level. NSSO used to collect. CSO is data from for like our economic, like we have CPI, Consumer Price Index, we have IPI, Industries Price Index. So that is what these both body was combined to form National Statistical Office in 2019. Okay, this was actually a key recommendation of Rangarajan Committee. Not only NSO was his recommendation, also National Statistical Commission, NSC, was also his commission. Now coming back to today's news, the government is actually going to change the existing body, that is, which was created in 2019, that is the Standing Committee on Economic Statistics. But why? This committee has not been giving very quality data. Because of the lack of quality data, there is problem in resource allocation. The beneficiaries are not getting the allocated resource, and the schemes and funding are also not working very well. So, because of which the government is actually going to change the Standing Committee on Economic Statistics to a Standing Committee on Statistics, which is chaired by Pranab Sen, who is actually the first statistician and the former chairman of National Statistics Commission. Okay. Now, another important thing is that this committee only used to give economic indicators, like that is required for CPI, IIP and all. And other basic economy or the goods or services is not included under this data. So, in this committee, we can get survey or reports on about everything, every sector in India. So, it's an all-round committee. Let's move on to another topic. Lightning not a natural disaster, says the center. Now, we have a lot of disasters in India. We have landslide, avalanche, another flood, we have forest fire, everything is included in as a natural disaster. But lightning is still not actually included as a natural disaster. But why? The union government is not in favor of actually making lightning a natural disaster, and they say that lightning is actually preventable. Given proper early warnings to people, if they are in the house, lightning is not going to harm anyone. That is actually what the union government has saying. And India is only the one of the 5 countries which has an early warning system for lightning, which means that we could get lightning early warning system like 5 days before, even 3 hours before a lightning is going to happen. Now, why are some stating for lightning to be in a natural disaster? Bihar and West Bengal. In India, eastern and northeastern states are largely affected by lightning. Okay, there has been a lot of cases of deaths reported because of lightning. Even after having early warning system and prevention control mechanisms, lightning is still causing a lot of death. Recently, till this year, till July, 107 deaths is caused in Bihar because of lightning alone. Okay, then as per National Crime Records Bureau, 2,880 people died in lightning strikes in 2021. The deaths made up of 40% of all the natural disasters caused in India. Lightning makes up 40%. Okay, it's a big number. That is why states and other people are requesting the central government to make lightning a natural disaster. Okay, even 1 lakh people died just in lightning in between 1967 and 2019. In June 25, 2020, just in one day, about 100 people died in India. Okay, so this is the statistics of how many people died in lightning and the requirement of why it is important for lightning to be made a natural disaster. If lightning is made to a natural disaster, the people will get compensation, and that is given by the State Disaster Resource Fund. That 75% of funds inside this is given by the center, and the rest 25% are given by the states. So, this is requirement of why lightning should be made into a natural disaster. Now, UK formally signs up the Trans-Pacific Trading Bloc. In this, the first thing which we need to, there are two things which you need to learn. We need to learn about Comprehensive Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is an important body in our Pacific Ocean. And the next thing is the UK's interest in CPTPP. After UK being exiting from the European Union, that is called the Brexit. This is one of the major initiatives that has been taken by the UK. Okay, so in that concept, in the case of Brexit and UK is joining, these both things are interrelated and is important in that perspective. Now, this Comprehensive Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership consists of 11 members. It's also called the CPTPP 11. And all these members of CPTPP are also members of the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation. It consists of 21 members and 11 members are other countries like the Russia, South Korea, China, Hong Kong, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, etc. And the 11 countries are from this Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now let's learn all the 11 countries inside the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, Trans-Pacific Partnership is mainly in between the countries in the Pacific Ocean. So you need to remember it that way because all surrounding Pacific Ocean countries are there in this initiative. Now we have Canada. US was there. Okay. Initially it was 12 members. Then US actually resigned from them and now it's only 11 members. So US is not there. But you can find US in Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation. Now, Mexico is there. That is the North America. From South America, we have Peru, we have Chile. And coming on, let's take it a round way. After this, we have New Zealand, we have Australia. And then we have Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam and Japan. So, these make the 11 countries which are actually in the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But this body was not created by all these 11 members. It was just created by 4 members and that include Brunei, Singapore, Chile and one more. Brunei, Chile, New Zealand and Singapore. Okay. Brunei, Singapore, New Zealand and Chile. Okay. So this is the importance and you need to learn the partners. We have already seen a lot of bodies in the Pacific Ocean, but this is actually one of the important, and with UK's Brexit, this is an important for your prelims, your mains and so on. Okay. So what is the importance of this Trans-Pacific organization? Now, they have actually removed 99% of their tariff on goods. It's not just goods and military and all they focus on every sectors including environment, the wildlife trafficking, environmental protection, all the other corporations are done in this sector. Okay, it's 99% of tariff free goods on this. Now, why is actually this beneficial for UK? Now see, there are a lot of goods in UK like the chocolate, whiskey and all that can be actually traded with zero tariff into these countries. That is one of actually the benefits of UK exiting from Brexit, so that it can actually create initiative with other countries, form an FTA of alliance and thus it could trade with other countries. This is actually a form of FTA, so it's actually with zero tariffs. This is very beneficial to UK and it actually can generate an additional GDP of about $1.8 billion. That's actually an annual boost to about 0.08% GDP. It won't seem very much to us, but in calculation with money value, it's very big. Okay. So the Trans-Pacific Partnership is also a gateway to the Indo-Pacific region. Okay. Through this, you can access everything, the petroleum reserve, the fishing, the navigation, everything is open to also for UK, which is expected to account about majority of 54% of global economic growth in the future. Okay. You can also have a veto power against China. You see in this organization, China is still not a member. So if UK becomes a member, it can be also against China, can veto also China. India is still not a member in this. Do you know why? Because India thinks that the environmental laws, the laws which is inside this organization are still narrow and it doesn't suit to the labor codes or environmental reforms that India wants to invest in within itself. Thus, India is still not a member in this initiative. Now, moving on, Dangerous heat waves felt across globe as the wildfire ranges. We have been witnessing a lot of heat wave cases in India. We have been witnessing a lot of temperature rise in our daily life, which is actually like, it was a rare phenomena, heat waves. Now it's like a daily phenomena. It has become a part of our lives. That is what the article is trying to say. It is in our GS3, environment ecology, and also in disaster management. You see, this is India. And this is the area of heat waves affecting India. As India being a tropical country, India is actually very vulnerable to heat waves. All this area covers under a heat wave. There is high rise in temperature, more than 40 to 50 degrees Celsius rise in our temperature, even in plains, hilly areas, and even in our coastal areas. So you see, heat waves are prolonged periods of excessive heat, like it could last up to 5 to 6 days. Okay, and India is particularly vulnerable. And we say when heat waves is because in plains, if it goes more than 40 degrees Celsius, it is heat waves. If in hilly areas, it goes more than 30 degrees Celsius, it is heat wave. When in coastal area, if it goes more than 37 degrees Celsius, it is heat waves. Okay, now what may be the major causes? We have global warming. Why not? There is rise in temperature. There is also pretty much chance it can cause heat waves and fire and forest fires and so on. Urbanization. You have heard about urban heat islands and El Nino. It could also change the pattern, may create more droughts, or it could create excessive flood and also may trigger the heat waves. Then scorching temperature alerts in Japan and USA. This part is today's news. That is, Japan and USA are having very high rise in temperature, and California Death Valley, which is one of the hottest places, is recording a hit of 54 degrees Celsius today. Southern California has burned more than 3,000 hectares due to forest fire. So you can cite all these as examples in question if it's asked about forest fire and heat waves, which we can actually expect because this is something which is happening every day right now. So an important area. Now I have some 4 prelims based small topics which we will be covering in 5 minutes. India to push G20 to raise MNC tax share. In this, you need to know some key terms like what is global minimum tax and base erosion and profit sharing. So in 2021, OECD, that is the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, and with some other few countries took out the initiative and said that like there are a lot of companies who are actually shifting their profits and we are not even getting any revenue. So let us make a initiative to tax them so that all the companies, all the nations would actually get profit out of it and you will get the revenue as well. So that's how they have created a global minimum taxation, GMT. So in this they stated that they will actually tax the companies about global minimum tax, a minimum tax of 15%, that is just the minimum, and if this increases, if they have a lot of profit, we would actually add a surcharge. This is actually additional charge, surcharge of 25%. That is actually the 2 pillars under this OECD created global minimum tax. Okay. Then the other word which you need to know is base erosion and profit shifting. How is this done? Let us say there is a Microsoft company. The Microsoft has a lot of various structures, like there is Microsoft. Now it has companies in A, B, C countries. Let A be US, where they do manufacture their goods. Now let this country be Turkey, B be Turkey, where they actually register their profit and assets. And let the C be Australia, where they actually sell their goods. Okay. Now this one single company has 3 different organizations in 3 different countries and doing 3 different types of business. One asset, one is manufacturing and other is just selling. Okay. Now because of this there is no transparency of this organization. We don't know where the profit of this company lies, what are the assets of this company, everything is skewed and neither of these countries has an idea on what goes inside of that company. So in order to tackle this situation, they have created this organization against this base erosion and profit shifting. This phenomenon is known as the base erosion and profit shifting. They may be giving profit into Turkey. In Turkey, it may be a tax haven, which means that the tax rates are very small. But in US, they are just doing the manufacturing because there are very high chance of taxation. It may be a 20% tax in US. In Turkey, it may be a mere of 5%. In Australia, maybe a 10%. So they register their profits in this area, which is just 5%. Okay, so it's kind of a tax haven and they just pay a minimum of taxation, and by this there is a very big huge loss of revenue. But with the introduction of global minimum tax, which is actually a 15%, countries could actually register revenue or profit of $150 billion. Okay, so that is how this is very important, and India here in G20 is actually trying to push this initiative, which is actually going to start next year from 2024. Now, moving on, Russia has sufficient stockpile of cluster bombs, says Putin. We need to know what is cluster bombs. See here, it's like a rocket, it goes and there is small pieces of bomb, small clusters of bomb like this. It goes, it splits away all the bombs and it actually splits into a very large area, which is actually very dangerous. Why? Because some of this may explode, some of this may not explode. If it doesn't explode, it is a threat to the future generation. If it explodes, it could explode even in the civilian area, thus causing more casualties and death. This is actually banned by majority of countries, including 100 of countries has actually banned it, calling it unethical practices in case of a war. So, an important initiative you need to know under this is the Convention on Cluster Munitions, which has happened in 2008. Almost 111 countries has approved this convention, stating that they would never actually make any of these cluster bombs, sell any of these cluster bombs or use any of these cluster bombs, which is actually very unethical. But there are some countries like India, US, China, Russia has not signed this convention yet. Army troops for bilateral exercise in Ulaanbaatar. Ulaanbaatar is in Mongolia and it is an annual exercise conducted by the army and it's called the Nomadic Elephant. About 43 personnel from India is there in Ulaanbaatar and it starts from today, that is 17 July and lasts till 31st July. Now, the next and the last, smart farming technology. Okay, it is launched by CTCRI, launched at national event. So, smart farming technology is also called the precision farming, where we use a lot of we use IoT, artificial intelligence like Kisan drones. We use a lot of these new age tools to actually make the farming a bit more smarter. By this we can actually generate more income from more productivity, more income, and it would be more sustainable form of income. Like you see here, the farmer is using Kisan drones by which he can sense the soil acidity or aridity. The mechanization of tractors, how much profit he may get, the productivity which can be expected, if there is disease in any of these crops which is grown. So, smart agriculture, like we can telemarketing, we are using a lot of technologies here, and then it also ensures a lot of communication system, like it can be even satellite based monitoring system. So, smart farming is actually the basic solution for today's farming, which can be more economical, productive and sustainable. Now, this was the last topic of today. Now, I am here with a few previous year questions with you and things which we have discussed. With reference to the Transpacific Partnership, consider the following statements. It is an agreement among the Pacific Rim countries except China and Russia. Is it? It is a strategic alliance for the purpose of military security only. This is a 2016 previous year question. Pacific Rim countries, like it's 11, it doesn't include China and Russia as big talk. The first statement is wrong. It is a strategic alliance for the purpose of maritime security only. I told you it's an all-around committee and it's not just limited to the marine sector alone. So, neither 1 or 2. The next term, base erosion and profit shifting. Like, just go through this. Mining operations by multinational companies? No. Curbing the tax evasion by multinational companies? Yes. But let's go through the other two. Exploitation of genetic resources of a country by multinational companies? No. Lack of consideration of environmental costs? No. So it's curbing the tax evasion by multinational companies. Now, what is the possible limitations of India in the mitigation of global warming at present? Okay, appropriate ordinary technologies are not sufficient, or we don't have that much of ordinary technologies, that is still developing. So the statement is correct. India cannot invest huge funds in research and development. Of course, till now only 0.7% to 2% of funds are given in research and development. So it's actually pretty less, and with so much of socio-economic condition going in India, only a small percentage can be given to research and development. So the statement is also correct. Many developed countries have already set up their polluting industries in India. No, right? That statement seems negative, and that's also wrong. So the answer is 1 and 2 only. Now this is a practice question which I have formulated. Please go through this and comment down the answer below. I will be discussing this the first thing in tomorrow's episode. Okay, it's about polio vaccination, which we have already discussed. It is caused by virus that affects our nervous system and could cause permanent paralysis. The second statement, global polio eradication initiative is to eliminate all forms of polio cases by 2010. Injectable polio vaccine could cause vaccine-derived poliovirus and VAPP. Choose the correct answer. Now answer this in the comments below, and I will be discussing tomorrow. You can get the PDF of this today's daily analysis in our Telegram channel. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.